wrong or right. We don't even care enough to fight. We're going through the motions, 'cause we can't fix what's broken.
G'day guys, my name's Dave Tran and welcome to another GuitarZero2Hero song tutorial. And in this lesson, I'll be teaching you how to play 3 Empty Words by Shawn Mendes. So in this lesson, I'm going to teach you 2 ways to play this: an easy chord strummed version and the studio recorded version. So for the basics of this song, you'll need your guitar in standard tuning and the capo on the 7th fret of your guitar. You'll need to know 12 chord shapes. Now that might sound like a lot, but they're all small variations of each other, so it's not so bad. Now if you want to master your chords back to front, then be sure to head over to GuitarZero2Hero.com to pick up my free guitar ebook. So the 12 chord shapes are C, C/E. Now that's the same as the C chord, except you're going to be hitting the top 6th string as well. We have C augmented. Now the way we're going to play this is going to be a bit of a stretch, but it's going to be the easiest way to transition into the chords that are before it and after it. So for the C augmented, we're going to play a C chord shape first, but using different fingers. So pinky will go on the 3rd fret of the 5th string, ring on the 2nd fret of the 4th, and our middle finger on the 1st fret of the 2nd string. And then our index finger here will go on top of the 1st fret of the 3rd string. And that's C augmented. C6 is our next chord, and to play a C6, we're going to basically play an A minor shape, and then with your pinky, you're going to put that on the 3rd fret of the 5th string. That's C6. We have C7, which is the same as a C chord shape, but you take your pinky and you put it on the 3rd fret of the 3rd string. And that's C7. We have E minor, E minor 7. So to play this E minor 7, index finger on the 2nd fret of 5th string and ring finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. We have E major, A minor, F, G, and finally G/B. Now G/B is exactly the same as a G, except you're not going to be hitting the top 6th string. Your bass note is the 5th string. And those are the 12 chord shapes. Okay, so we're going to start with the studio version, and for the intro and verse, there's 2 lines of chords. The first line of chords is C, G, A minor, E minor 7, and then the second line of chords is F 4 times. Before we get into this, I'm going to teach you the generic picking pattern that's used basically throughout the whole song. Now just some rules on finger picking. Our thumb's going to take care of the 6th, 5th and 4th strings, and our index, middle and ring finger are going to take care of the 3rd, 2nd and 1st strings respectively. They're not going to move anywhere else or pluck any other strings. So to demonstrate the picking pattern, I'm going to use the first 2 chords of this intro/verse to demonstrate, which is the C and the G. So we're going to start our picking pattern by plucking the bass note of whatever chord you're playing and the 2nd and 3rd strings all together. And then you're going to do a muted slap after that. To do that, all you have to do is drop your picking hand onto the strings like that, and you'll get that nice percussive sound. Now the part of your hand which will be doing most of the slapping will be the thumb. So when it comes down on the strings, most of the noise will be coming from the thumb, like that. So after you've done the slap, you then pluck the 4th, 3rd and 2nd strings, and then instantly do another slap. And that's the first picking pattern. The picking pattern after that is going to be a slight variation. So let's say we change chords to the G. The first bit's going to be still the same. So we're going to pluck the bass note of whatever chord we're playing. For the G, it's the 6th string. And we're going to pluck the 2nd and 3rd strings together. Then you slap, and then this is where it differs. You're going to pluck the 4th string, and then you're going to skip the 3rd string, hold on to that 4th string a bit longer, and then pluck the 2nd string, and then slap. So the first picking pattern sounds like this. And the second picking pattern sounds like this. Notice how I skip that 3rd string and the 4th note is held out a bit longer. One more time. Now alternating between those 2 picking patterns is essentially going to be done throughout the whole song. So it's really important that you just memorize that picking pattern, and then everything else is really easy. Now there's a couple of exceptions to that, but we'll get to those later on. So to finish off the verse, we have C, and then we have G, A minor, and then E minor 7. Now one thing we need to do with this E minor 7 is that we won't actually hold down that 3rd fret of the 2nd string when we first play the bass note, 2nd and 3rd strings. You'll put that finger down after you do the slap. So that E minor 7 will sound like this. Our first line of chords will sound like this. And then we go to our F chord, and then we play that for 4 alternated picking patterns. So in total, the verse and intro will sound like this at 75 and 100% speed. Now we get to the chorus, and there's 4 lines of chords that we need to learn. The first line of chords will go A minor, E minor, F, and then C, and G/B. You're going to play the generic picking pattern for the first 3 chords, but for the C and the G/B, all you're going to play is the bass note, slap, and then the bass note, slap. So in total, that first line of chords will sound like this. For the rest of the chorus, we're just going to be playing the generic alternating picking pattern. Then our second line of chords is A minor, E minor, F, and C. Then our next line of chords is G, A minor, F, and C. Now for the G, we're going to do a similar thing that we did for the E minor 7 in the verse. So you're not going to actually put your ring finger down on that 3rd fret of the 2nd string until you do the slap. So for the first pluck, it's bass note, 2nd and 3rd strings together, slap, and then you put your ring finger down, pluck 4, 3, 2. And the G will sound like this. And then the rest of the chords are just normal. So that 3rd line will sound like this. And then finally, our 4th line is A minor, E major, F, and then C. Now for the first chorus, that's played twice. For the second chorus, it only goes once. And for the final chorus, it's actually played 3 times. If you want any clarification, just check out the chords tab in the description below. So the last line will sound like this. And at 75 and 100% speed, the full chorus will sound like this. Okay, so now we get to the bridge, and the bridge just has 2 lines of chords. The first line of chords is C, but we're going to play the C with our pinky, ring, and middle finger. This is going to be easier to transition to our C augmented, which comes next, by just taking our index finger and putting on the 1st fret of the 3rd string. C augmented, then we go to C6, and then C7. And that's what we have for the first line of chords. Now for that whole first line of chords, we're going to change the picking pattern a tiny bit. This is where we have a tiny variation. So the basic structure is going to be the same, except we're going to be plucking different strings. So for the first 2 chords, for example, we have the C and the C augmented. Our first pluck is going to be the bass note of whatever chord you're playing, and the third, second, and first strings all together. And then you're going to slap, and then you're going to pluck third, second, and first strings, and then slap. So the first chord will sound like this. The picking pattern after that is going to be basically exactly the same. So we're going to change our chord to C augmented here. We're going to pluck the bass note, third, second, and first strings together, slap. We're going to pluck the third string, skip the second string, and then just go to the first string. But we're going to hold on to that third note a bit longer, and then we're going to slap. So the C augmented would sound like this. And then we repeat that alternating picking pattern for the C6 and the C7. So that whole run of C chords sounds like this. When we get to the second line of chords, we then return to the normal alternative picking pattern. So we have F, C/E, and then G for 2 picking patterns. So that second line of chords will sound like this. And altogether, the bridge at 75 and 100% speed will sound like this. And finally, when we get to the last chorus, Shawn Mendes mixes up the picking pattern here. It's no longer the percussive slap picking pattern, it's a slow, mellow picking pattern. So for the generic picking pattern in this last chorus, it's going to go, let's use the A minor for example, the bass note of whatever chord you're playing for the A minor will be the 5th string, and then you're going to pluck the 4th string, 2nd string, 3rd string, and 4th string. And that's the generic picking pattern. And you'll do that with every single chord, except for the C and the G/B, where you'll go bass note, 3rd string, and then bass note, 3rd string. So for example, the first line of the chorus will sound like this. So at 75 and 100% speed, the last chorus will sound like this. Now if you're a beginner and you can't quite fingerpick it up to speed, then I'm going to teach you an easy strumming pattern that you can use. All the chords will be exactly the same. The strumming pattern will go like this. Down, down, up, up. And that will replace a fingerpicking pattern. So for the intro and verse, for example, with that strumming pattern, it will sound like this. Down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. And you can just use the same thing for the chorus. The only small exception though is when you go the C and the G/B, you'll play a strumming pattern like this. Down, down, up. And you'll play the same for the G/B. So it'll go down, down, up, down, down, up. And the chorus will sound like this. And for the bridge, again, you can use the same strumming pattern, so the bridge will sound like this. So now I'm going to play the intro, verse, chorus, and bridge. I'm going to have a vocal track on top for some context. So feel free to repeat this part as many times as you want, play along, and see how you go.
I'll pick you up at the same time, the same place, the same old drive. We'll just talk about our day to try to fill the awkward space tonight. We'll play the songs we used to love while we try to fall in love again. We don't know who's wrong or right. We don't even care enough to fight. We're going through the motions, 'cause we can't fix what's broken. And I know it's gonna hurt, but darling, I'll go first, 'cause I won't keep on saying those three empty words. Those three empty words will only make it worse. I'm tired, I can't take it anymore. Those three empty words will only make it worse. We're tired, we can't take it anymore.
Hope you guys have enjoyed this lesson. Head over to GuitarZero2Hero.com to pick up my free guitar ebook. If you've enjoyed this and you want to see more in the future, then please, it would help so much if you hit that like button, hit subscribe, leave your thoughts, comments and questions and requests below, and I'll see you next time on Guitar Zero to Hero. Cheers.